Welcome to the fish tank.
Hey everybody, Fishman here. Welcome to another video. This is Fish Room Vlog Part 12, I think, and I need to catch up on some maintenance. I was away for a week, as you remember, and before I go away, I do a bunch of prep work, not just with my tanks, but with clients' tanks. But well, the first week I get back, it's pretty much exclusively I will take care of my clients' tanks, make sure everything's the way they should be. It's not as onerous as it used to be because still there's a number that are shut down and a few have gone out of business and such things, but it still takes up a fair amount of time, so I'm only really getting to my maintenance, the excess maintenance, now. So I'm going to do two levels of maintenance here. This tank here is really overgrown with hornwort and duckweed, and I need to prune those both back. And also the filter's a bit dirty and there's a fair amount of mulm on the bottom, so I am also going to do a bigger clean on that. And the tank on the right, I'm going to do a lot less maintenance, mostly a prune, get rid of the excess hornwort, and also prune back the duckweed. So what I'm doing here is I took out most of the hornwort and pretty much all of the Java fern, and there's a basin at my feet. So I just dump it all in that because hornwort and Java fern are really tough and they don't mind being out of the water for a little bit. The pearlweed that you saw that I put in the tank next door is more delicate, so I just put it in the water and I keep it that way. So what I'm going to do here on this tank is, after I manage to get all the plants out, is I'm going to clean the filter, I'm going to do a big water change, and also I am going to skim off a fair amount of the duckweed. It's kind of a moot point, really. It grows back, it sticks on things. You can see it on the side of the tank there. And also there's a ton of it in the hornwort and the Java fern. But I'm going to get as much as I can, and also at the same time, as you see, I'm going to clean the lids. I'm actually really happy with these lids. There's very little in the way of deflection. You can see the one sitting there, and I don't have to flip them at all. And as you can see, I'm just using a scouring pad, and they're really easy to keep clean. I meant to do an update on the 2-foot ones, but I got really busy because I had to pressure wash the section I've been saying I was going to pressure wash for a long time. But when I started doing that, I realized that I actually needed to. I was well overdue for pressure washing pretty much the entire basement. When I do a lot of building and a lot of fish room stuff and whatnot, and pretty much just dirt gets on the floor and fish food. And I have a cat, not the one that you see in the videos. We have another cat, an older one, who seems to think that the entire basement is her litter box, and it needs to be pressure washed. It just does. So what I'm doing here is I'm cleaning the filter. I just rinsed out the filter floss, and I've just poured out the fluid that was in the secondary tray there. I'm not going to. I don't rinse out the gravel very often. Actually, not really often at all. I think that's enough of a maintenance right there, just by pouring out any kind of mulm that shakes loose. And this way you don't really disturb the filter too much. Now what I'm going to do here as well is go along with the hose and just suck up the excess mulm. It's not necessary to get it all. Actually, I don't even know if it's even possible to get it all. So I don't really worry about that too much. What I do is get the bulk of it out. And again, you can see that I'm probably sucking up a lot of snails, and I'll get some shrimp, I'll get a lot of scuds and all that sort of stuff. But this is all going into the same basin, and once I have all that water in there, I will shake those plants out and get as many of those things out as possible. And then this is a really fine mesh net. I will switch over to a really loose or greater, better gap between the mesh, however you want to put that. And I will filter all that water out, and then because the scuds and the shrimp are bigger than that, they'll all go back in the tank, and all that dirty water won't. This is actually a really nice system. I like this. I do mean to build the other two panels so that I can cut down on the humidity in the fish room. It's not really something that is even possible, I think, in the summer. Currently, the humidity is close to 100% anyway, And I probably could seal off the basement and run a dehumidifier, but I don't bother in the summer. It's just pointless. I'd burn burn electricity. We call it hydro here simply because most of our electricity is hydro generated. But yeah, it's just burn extra burn extra electricity. So as you can see, a lot of duckweed goes back in, but once I fill that tank up, it'll float to the surface, and because there is now less in the way of plants to get in the way, it'll be rather easy just to scoop most of it out. I'll never get it all. I don't think it's possible. A commenter, I'm not sure if he subscribes, said that what he does to get rid of duckweed in his aquariums is run a jet of water across the surface, and he finds that the turbulence, the turnover, prevents it from doing well, and it eventually just all dies back. I've never done that. I'm going to probably set up something in the near future, a little water pump with a makeshift spray bar across the surface, and I'm going to give that a try. It should be interesting. I mean, I've tried to get rid of duckweed so many times. It actually doesn't bother me as much as I say, because it does have its uses. I feed the duckweed to my Africans, and it also, because it grows so well, it also denitrifies quite well. So it is a nuisance only because it is almost impossible to get rid of if you want to get rid of it. And I have tanks that are duckweed free, and so obviously I can do it. Unfortunately, this requires a little bit more attention than I really tend to put into any given aquarium. There you go, these are all set back up. Now, I am going to do a water change on this tank here, but instead of doing the hose, I'm going to use my preferred method, which is just to hook up a, well, it's just an elbow, so it'll now drain down into the automatic overflow system, and that's how I prefer to do my water changes instead of having buckets and basins and stuff. But every now and then it is necessary to do that sort of thing, and so I'm just going to get that done that way. So there you go, we're pretty much close to the cleaning phase done here, and I'm going to get to pressure washing the tanks. I'm going to pressure wash a little bit in this spot because sometimes flake food will get onto the pipes that are below here, but mostly it's the new part and the floor. I like to do the floor at least once a year, but actually I think this is going to be well, definitely over a year. I think it's probably closer to 2 years, so it definitely needs to be done. And the nice thing about this is, once I do this pressure wash, I can actually hook these tanks up, which is long overdue. And I'm sure most of you don't use pressure washers to clean your aquariums, but it's really actually quite useful. And because my floor is concrete and there's a drain and everything, it is just so much simpler to do this than it is to go around and individually wipe down every little last everything, and then just get a mop out and scrub the floor and all that sort of stuff. It is just too tedious for me to do that, and this is really fast. And when I originally designed the fish room, all my electricity is run from the ceiling joists. They're all up out of the way, so I don't have to worry about anything, the water getting on them. And of course, you have to be careful anyway, but it is just a simple, easy way of getting rid of all that buildup. This window here gets a lot of condensation in the winter, well, fish room, and that just ends up creating a sticking spot for any kind of dust, because I do an awful lot of machining and woodworking and stuff as well in here, and it just builds almost like soil after a while. So yeah, I'm going to pressure wash this all down and then do the floor, and then I can start putting all the stuff that I have stored on the other side of the fish room underneath these tanks. So that's one of the reasons why I didn't have bottom row for aquariums here, because that gives me a lot more space to store things, and I need it because I have a ton of crap, I tell you. This gets kind of stupid after a while. And I am in the process of trying to throw out a lot of stuff that haven't used in years and years, but it's hard. I might be a pack rat, I'm not sure. But I find that I tend to accumulate things. So it's all nice and clean now. There's a little bit more I need to do with it. Most of that stuff you see there is just scratches from when my cat used to go out. And then there you go. The storage is all down here now. This only represents maybe a third of what I have in the fish room, but it's nice to get that at least out of the way so I can clear up space on the other side and gradually get rid of it. And once this is all done and those tanks are all hooked up, I'm going to do a full fish room tour for you guys. So here's the tank I cleaned. This is the day before, the day after I did it, so I cleaned it the day before. This one I probably should have cleaned the filter as well. As you can see, this one cleaned up really nicely, and because I didn't clean the other filter, it didn't clear up as much. Still a bit of duckweed to get rid of. I will try and get it down to a tolerable level simply because I like a free and open surface in my aquariums, just for gas exchange and that sort of stuff. So there you go, floor is nice and clean. These are all set and ready to fill up, and that's pretty much it. Thank you very much for watching. If you like the style of video, please like and or subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video, and bye for now.